What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, as I check to make sure the mic isn't muted. Hey, Lions Talk Live morning show edition. You know, we got a couple things to talk about. Baker Mayfield, the Bucs, we get it. They are as red hot as any team in the NFL. They're going to be coming into this game, and it appears Baker Mayfield, maybe like a lot of Detroit Lions players, finds ways to put chips on his shoulders. And apparently, he's got a big one in his mind as to why he wants to come in and really pound this Detroit Lions defense. Piers, you know, we'll go into this. They're the main topic of the day, but he is self-motivating. Most great athletes do. And he's ready to talk some trash, chew on some nails, and spit lightning bolts at the Detroit Lions defense. He's got a axe to grind with MCDC, Detroit Lions D, and all things above. We'll talk about that momentarily during the main topic of the day. Before we get into that, you guys know we'll have 5 headlines now. We'll have a bunch of Lions news and information. We'll analyze, man, why the heck is Lawrence Strickland cut from this team? You know, with what's going on with Brian Branch plus Kirby Joseph, perhaps, you know, on the fence if he's going to be able to play or not. You would think you'd want any kind of safety on this defense who's got any amount of experience with it, ready to go. They made a move yesterday, adding William Fuller. We'll break it down more in-depthly during the main topic of the day. Brings up a lot of questions. Kelvin Shepard's got to be dialing up something, and Baker Mayfield's ready to dissect that. So before we get into the 5 headlines now, more in depthly the main topic of the day, real quick, if we may, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We are 62 subs away from hitting 15,100. Big shout out to everybody watching this. Thank you for all the love and support, all the subscriptions. We crossed 15,000 yesterday and now marching towards 15,100. Hey, from the bottom of my heart, I thought if this channel ever got over 3 subs, we'd be doing something because I figured my mom could subscribe twice with her work account and a regular account. You know, plus maybe I can subscribe too, so that would give me 3 subs way back in the day. Also, if you're hitting that subscribe button, consider hitting the thumbs up button, the like button, hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last thing, but certainly never least, if you're considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, let alone the continental United States, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. You want someone who's going to work on your behest. Make sure you're not being overcharged or anything. One of you guys reached out from Alabama yesterday. And to be fair, we caught that you were being egregiously overcharged on a few things. I don't know if I'll be able to help you more than that, but if nothing else, was able to save you a couple of grand easy, I would say. So do be careful. Don't sign paperwork unless you know what you're signing, because unfortunately in this industry, whether you're talking about from a lender standpoint, title company standpoint, realtor standpoint, any phase of it, people sometimes can try to take advantage of what you don't know. Give me a call, shoot me a text, and I'll try to help out. All right, all that said, done, out of the way. Let's get this rocking, rolling, going, kicking off with 5 headlines now. All right, 1, 2, 3, 5 headlines now. Lions post-game injury report after week 6 is 6. Loss to the Chiefs. Story by Jimmy Lotto, MD, Lions Wire. Lions are beat up, and to be fair, you're seeing more and more teams across the NFL go through, maybe not to the same extent Detroit is, but they are going through a lot of extent. We're going to be talking about that all week long when it comes to this Bucs-Lions matchup, because talking about a team who may have the same amount of injuries, just on the opposite side of the ball, it may be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, let's just go through a number of the injuries and try to get an update here. Kirby Joseph, left knee. We don't know. There's no updates. I don't care if you're talking about Jimmy Lotto or anybody at Detroit-based media. Everybody's best guess right now is that Kirby Joseph will play this game. Although I've gone on record saying even last week, I thought maybe he should sit out for a week or two, get the bye, and try to get right. That PCL, it's going to need some significant time off to really heal up. Can you achieve that in the season? I'm not even sure if that's possible. What I can say, and it sounds like anybody with a medical background who's better at it than I am, I'll agree on one thing. He's hurting. He's playing through a lot of pain. Give him props, credit. You guys all saw it against Kansas City, and I want to even say against the Cleveland Browns and maybe the Cincinnati Bengals too, that he's left games because the pain got that severe. You can see where against Kansas City he was barely able to walk off the field. We'll pay attention to it. Christian Mahogany, I originally did not notice this one doing the play-by-play during the game, but he does have apparently a significant arm/shoulder injury. This happened in the third quarter with 10 minutes and 5 seconds remaining on the clock. We're waiting for further updates to be released. What exactly is the injury? Could it limit him this upcoming game, keep him out? Don't know anything about that yet, but we do want to pay attention to it. He did get a significant injury enough to where it required some medical attention after a drive. Some tidbits for you. Avonte Maddox is not going to play this game because of the hamstring. He is expected to return after the bye. That's good news for the Detroit Lions, who have nobody left other than Kirby Joseph from the starting secondary from week 1. And if Joseph doesn't go, man, talk about just a depleted group. They are. Marcus Davenport probably going to return after the bye, or at least right around there. Zane Zylstra, suspected high ankle sprain, also eligible to return this week after serving 4 games on IR. Whether or not they will activate him or not, best guess. MCDC did talk about Malcolm Rodriguez, his ACL recovery. He's had a cleanup surgery a few months ago. He is eligible to start practice anytime, but Campbell said he's hoping after the bye. Dan Skipper played 100% of the snaps in replacement of Taylor Decker, who's dealing with that shoulder surgery, performing well. No, doesn't sound like there's any further updates on Dan Skipper other than he seems to be fully recovered. Giovanni Manu, you guys all know he's on the IR. He can return. He can't return until week 11 against the Eagles. Khalif Raymond, active last game after that scary hit the week prior, was really limited on offense. He got 2 snaps and only got a couple things on special teams. I think the Lions are just being cautious with him, and I fully understand that. Brian Branch, also somebody who's very injured, but currently due to not play this game. I actually think the suspension is a win for Brian Branch. Now, there has been nothing concrete confirmed what's going on with his foot or ankle, whatever it is in his lower extremities, but there is something going on. You could even watch his body language during the game. When he's in a play, he's going full steam, but you could see after the play, going to the huddle, setting up, he's a little limited on that leg. So something is going on. Could it be the Lions actually win by losing Brian Branch, giving him some time off to rest? I'm trying to be positive, Pete, here and say for Brian Branch, he's got a great opportunity to learn not to do that kind of stuff again while healing up his body for basically 3 weeks until the Lions play again. I think it's a big win for him and the team. L.A. McNeil, ACL, started practicing 2 weeks ago and is expected to see game action soon. Campbell said he's physically ready, maybe 52 to 48 plays. We'll see what happens. Will he be this week? Will it be after the bye? My guess is after the bye, but I don't think any Lions fan would be upset if it was this week. All right, Lions injury updates. Davenport, McNeil, Rodriguez, Arnold kind of already went through all these. The only thing I put this up here for is that John Macron gave some Arnold updates more in-depthly. It does sound like Terrion Arnold, we really did avoid any kind of big injury. T.A., I know we talked about it during the live cast of the Chiefs game. If you had questions about his value, his ability to play, the last game probably showed a whole lot of stuff because of what the Detroit secondary couldn't do. Terrion Arnold, MCDC talked about it a little bit to a certain degree during the presser. He's probably going to be back after the bye. And his ability to play man coverage, plus his size. Yes, I get he gets penalties. But I do think to a certain degree, some of that's just being a second-year corner. Some of it is playing so much man-to-man. I think his value shown up quite a bit because what you couldn't see out of the Lions secondary last week. If we see anything like that against the Bucs, what we saw against the Chiefs, you're probably all of us are going to reevaluate Terry Arnold and say, you know what, this kid may actually be vastly better than any of us anticipated. Rodriguez, his return once he gets up to speed, I think we all agree he'd be just another outstanding linebacker weapon because sort of like Alex Anzalone, he covers sideline to sideline. I mean, he flows so well to the ball when he's at full strength. Plus his ability, you can see why he was a former wrestler and a real good one. When he gets to even bigger individuals, his ability to gain leverage, win leverage, get people to the ground, I think it's just exceptional. So I'm going to like both those guys coming back. I think it would be a massive upgrade to the defense. Davenport, we all have the same opinion. The guy just can't stay healthy. But perhaps by keeping a snap count down with some of the other people we now have and with McNeil coming back, perhaps his value goes up too, because when he's out there, he is productive. It's just he can't stay healthy. We'll go on from there. All right, one of the bigger questions we probably all have regarding the Detroit Lions secondary and the defense as a whole, Lawrence Strickland, I'm assuming, but I can't speak for everybody, we all have the same opinion. Lions waive safety Lawrence Strickland, NBC Sports by Josh Apier. He's pretty good. He's kind of like a Brian Branch. I'm not going to say he's the same ability level as Brian Branch, but the fact that he's been waived 2 times now and with the secondary so beat up, why is that? Could it be that, all of us are just think he's better than he is? It'd be an interesting conversation to have with, Kelvin Shepard or Dan Campbell or anybody from the Lions secondary department and say, why is it Strickland's no longer here when everybody from your secondary is gutso, outso, on the IR, or just simply not able to play this game? Lions made a move yesterday that's going to take us into the next of the 5 headlines now. Detroit Lions signed veteran cornerback to practice squad. Some of you guys reached out just because of work responsibilities and trying to spend some time with the wife. Didn't really have the time to do a separate interview. I know the Sarge and I, Tony the Bredo, had some conversations via text about this. I like this signing. I like it a whole lot. For those who don't know, I guess let me just pull it up on the screen. I thought I already had it loaded. Apologies. Let me bring this up. All right, here we go. And let me take this off the screen so you can read it better. Lions announced the roster moves. You already know about Lawrence Strickland being waived. Re-signed Kingsley Ukwana to the offensive line. Chris Smith, hey, I'm hoping he had enough time to visit a Circle K and get a hot dog and a Mountain Dew. And then the big one here, signed Kendall Fuller to the practice squad. Most Lions fans would know this guy because he's played against us a number of times over the last decade. I think if you go back to, I made a joke with the Sarge about it. And Sarge was like, what are your thoughts on him? I'd say, man, if you go back to John Madden football 2021-22, you probably have an all-pro cornerback. But this is 2025. And in my opinion, in professional sports, nobody ages faster in professional sports than NFL players. You're now getting a 30-year-old guy who we've signed a bunch of yesterday. If he's anything like he was in 2022 or 21, Lions got a big win here because he can play. He is a ball hawk. He can play man-to-man. He is physical in the run game. I mean, there's just no real downside to him. The problem I have is I don't know what he can do nowadays. The Lions coaching staff does. If he's out there in the field in Monday Night Football against the Bucs, that tells you a whole lot about the guys you currently have healthy plus what he can be. He is a roll of the dice for sure, but I think it's a strong roll of the dice. I like a lot of things about him. Would he have been my first pick to sign to this team? Probably not. But then again, I don't really do, the kind of scouting the Lions do on inner squad guys. I like him. I think he can be, maybe for a game or two when the body's fresh, doesn't go through the grind in the NFL season. He could be a big win for this team. We've talked about in recent weeks with all the injuries to the secondary, I would not be upset. I know a lot of you guys have commented on the Do Crew section. You would not be upset if the Lions added a pass rusher, a cornerback, stuff like that. He could be that guy because if you move, say, Rocky Singh back to safety, which is kind of my anticipation, if Brian Branch indeed cannot play this week, cornerback-wise, if you get the Fuller out there along with a Meek Robertson and somebody else, you can go back to playing a lot of man-to-man, which is something we couldn't do against the Chiefs. So could he do it to the Bucs? Could he fill in for a game or two while the troops kind of return? I think that's possible. I think it's a big win for us, and I'm actually surprised if he's anywhere like he was a couple years ago that somebody else within the NFL didn't sign him. All right, Lions Bucs injury updates already have teams getting hit hard in key areas ahead of Monday Night Football in A to Z Sports. Mike Payton with this one. Not going to focus with this headline on the Lions stuff because we've already covered it. But when it comes to the Bucs, most of you know, but if you don't, I guess you're going to get brought up to speed. The Bucs have major injuries on the offensive side of the ball. They are going to be entering this game sort of like Detroit doesn't. If Kirby Joseph doesn't play, they don't have a single person from their starting week 1 secondary that are going to play this game. And the Bucs are going to be down to perhaps their 4th or 5th string wide receiver. They're going to more than likely be out without their number 1 running back. Baker Mayfield, while we'll be talking about this during the main topic of the day, he needs a lot of credit for what he is doing this season with these guys. And I don't even know who's going to be out there for the wide receiver spots for the Bucs because I just don't know him enough. Evans, most of you guys know he's a big body wide receiver for them. He's trying to come back and play this game, although it would be his first game back. He is going to be limited because he won't be fully healthy. Is that going to be enough to help them out? I'm not sure. The Bucs have been torn apart by injuries this year, yet somehow they keep winning games, and they just beat 2 teams that have a combined 8-4 record in the Seattle Seahawks and San Francisco 49ers. I thought they had an opportunity to lose both games. They won both games. When it comes to all the injuries, there is some hope for them. Like I said, Mike Evans might be able to return this game. You can see Ubukwa, the latest wide receiver to get the injury bug for the Bucs, has a hamstring injury. That's probably a big loss for them, a big win for Detroit. Let's see, other guys, Chris Godwin Jr., Jalen McMillan, along with running back Bucky Irvin, have all been ruled out already. So again, talking about us being beat up in the secondary, they're incredibly beat up in the wide receiver and running back group. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out later in the week, but they're going to have to figure some stuff out in some of their offensive line. The Bucs could also call up Dennis Houston or Garrett Green from the practice squad as well to try to help out with their offensive line, wide receivers, etc. The right guard position is something to monitor as well, as Luke Haggard is expected to be limited at best for this game. He did start the last 4 games, was listed as doubtful by Todd Bowles when he spoke with reporters on Monday. We'll pay attention to that. There's a chance veteran Mike Jordan could return, but like Evans, that's currently unknown and kind of up in the air. So you get it. They've got some injuries. Defense, Clay Akansky is out for the year. You guys probably already knew that, but if you didn't, now you do. Starting corner, Zion McKellen, has a chance to return to the lineup after missing last week, but it's unclear as to whether or not the second-year rookie will be able to come on back. So we'll pay attention to that. Bucs going through injuries, Lions going through injuries. I think all Lions fans get it. We often have the mindset that all these injuries are just to the Detroit Lions. Nah, it's across the NFL. And the Bucs, man, if we think we got it bad, they got it probably equally as bad. All right, we're talking about during the opening monologue, Baker Mayfield circling this one, trying to self-motivate. Man, talking to reporters yesterday, it's crystal clear he wants this game bad, and he's got a couple of points of emphasis. He wants to throw at MCDC in his opinion, when they win the game. I don't know if they're going to win. I think the Lions are going to win this game. Lions, I think, are going to come in really motivated, upset, pissed off, however you want to put it, after the KC game. So you know what? They're going to unleash the fury on the Bucs. Let's go ahead and get over to the main topic of the day. All right, main topic of the day. Go back about 3 years ago, the Detroit Lions had an opportunity, if they wanted to move off of Jared Goff and go to Baker Mayfield. If you guys remember Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless, they used to host a show. I can't even remember what it was called. I think it was on Fox Sports or something like that. But both gentlemen went on to a big rant and rave for a while that the Detroit Lions, when Baker Mayfield was a free agent, hadn't signed with the Bucs yet, should move off Jared Goff and go sign Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield actually wanted to come to Detroit. Baker Mayfield felt like he was slighted by not being signed by, you got it, the Detroit Lions. Now, I understand why the Lions didn't sign him. I also understand, hey, we hit a pretty good option with Jared Goff. I understand he's not fleet of foot. He can't outrun anybody, yada, yada. You guys all get it. But also look at what he's done as a Detroit Lion. He's been one of the best quarterbacks consistently for half a decade in Detroit. I think the Lions made the right move. Baker Mayfield, again, trying to self-motivate, trying to find reasons to play at his best ability level, like most athletes do. We all know St. Brown and a gajillion other Lions do the same thing. Baker Mayfield, talking to reporters, brought up the playoff loss a couple seasons ago against Detroit, and he says he's out here to prove to the world that Bucs are the best team in the NFC. Not second best, not third best, that he is the best quarterback on the planet. He is in his prime right now. He threw some shade at the Cleveland Browns, and I get that, man, because you look at the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation since they let him go, man, oh man, somebody needs to lose a job over that, right? What we know about this is Mayfield has been playing at an MVP level, and he might be right to a certain degree. He might be currently the best quarterback in the NFL, at least just this season. What he also knows is he's playing shorthanded. He's going to have to scramble. He's going to try to power his team to win. He took some, depending on how you word it, he took some liberties talking about the Detroit Lions. Thought, hey, what they did last year in Detroit, that's just the start of thing, and that's a direct quote. He thinks, man, the Lions couldn't beat us last year when they were fully healthy on D. They've got no shot this week against us on Monday Night Football. He goes on to rant about talking about, hey, the Lions should have picked me up when they had the chance. Thank goodness they didn't. The Bucs made the right call. I'm reading through the notes here. MCDC, great coach, but you know what? Out to prove him wrong. Out to have Todd Bowles back. He's coming in with a lot of fury behind him. And again, I think he's doing a lot of this, sort of like St. Brown does or Jared Goff does, tries to get himself so focused, so motivated that he's going to play, at 100 out of 100 ability level. But that also from the Detroit Lions, if you notice from the thumbnail, I put a picture next to him of Derek Barnes. Why is that? I think the Lions have got to get after him because I'm going to show Baker Mayfield some respect with what I'm about to say. I do think he is currently playing as the most consistent and best quarterback in the NFL. And yes, he can run. Yes, he can throw. I love the fact that boy launches that ball down the field. There is no free downs when you're playing against him because he's got a gun. He's got an arm. And he's not afraid to throw it 30, 40, 50 yards down the field to somebody who's even double teamed. The Lions defense, we all get it, that secondary is beat up. You got guys you don't even know, out there going to play for us, and they're going to be tested against him. I think Derek Barnes is going to be one of the biggest keys to this game. Again, why I have him in the thumbnail? Because I think you're going to see Derek Barnes, and I'm speculating here. I don't know what Kelvin Shepard's going to do, but I do think you're going to see him in a spy mode, blitz mode. I'm not so sure they're going to use him much in coverage this week because I think you have to get to Mayfield. You have to contain him. He is a threat in all facets of the offensive game for the Bucs. I think this is going to be a pretty good game. I do think, way too early prediction. I'm a homer when I say this, so take that with a grain of salt. I think the Lions are going to win. I think they're going to come up just as upset and motivated, pissed off, whatever you're going to say, as Mayfield is right now, apparently, and Kansas City was last week. I think the Lions are going to come out. I think you're going to see a big game from Aiden Hutchinson, that defensive line. They better get a big game from them because you know what? They need to perform at a high level in order to kind of contain them. All right, you've heard me rant and rave for about 10 minutes here, so let's get over the Duke Crew, see what you guys have to say this morning. I'm not really going to kind of go into any more about the KC game. I feel like I've covered it. If some breaking news emerges, I know some of you guys messaged me around 3 a.m. in the morning. I was asleep at that time, about Brittany Mahomes taking some shots at the Lions. Here's what I can say. I'll summarize with this and just kind of leave it be at that point. They won the game. They've got all the talking rights. I do think, maybe this motivates the Lions to try to get to the Super Bowl to see them again. But I do think you got a budding rivalry between KC and Detroit. I won't be surprised in the next couple seasons if the NFL tries to play off that, schedule some games between the two entities, because they're going to be two good teams. It's going to lead to some ratings, sort of like, Goff versus Stafford. NFL took advantage of that for a few years until it got old. I think the NFL is going to take advantage of this in the upcoming seasons, maybe even this year if we can reach the Super Bowl. Both teams reach the Super Bowl, that is. All right, let's go ahead and get to the comments section, see what you guys have to say, and maybe just a little bit more. Michael D, greetings, salutations, Coach Dan, and the Duke Crew. Exclamation, one pride. Woo! Back at you. Jameer, hey, good to see you as always, my friend. Greetings, salutations, Coach Duke Crew family, and back at you. Any more? Good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. Exclamation point. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! And hey, Henry, it's always a pleasure to have you in the chat. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. If we can win this game and rest up, I think we'll be in good shape to push forward in the playoffs. Our schedule is no joke. You know what? Let me pull up on the screen, Trey, just for you. Lions schedule. I think I've got it around here. Hey, there it is. Let's take a peek at it real quick, a gander. All right, so we get through this. Obviously, we won't lose to the bye week, but let's just assume for the sake of discussion, we win this game against the Bucs, get to the bye week. Then you got, oh gosh, what is it? Let's see, we got Minnesota. Then we're home. Boy, I can't really read that. Sorry, man, it's too small on my screen. Then we got Washington, Philly, New York, Green Bay, Dallas, Rams, Pittsburgh, then Minnesota and Chicago to end up. I mean, that's a monster schedule, to your point. Lions get the wins when he can, because it may not be an easy schedule the second half of the season. We get to 10, 11 wins. I think we've superseded a lot of people. Maybe not all of our expectations, but a lot of national media's expectations. All right, Michael, Baker has a hot hand. I agree. We'll need to put pressure on him. Agreed. Over and over again. I don't think you can let him sit back there in a clean pocket. Just Grady and Sanitation Duke Crew. Branch is appealing the suspension. Should he? Question mark. Shouldn't be mad if he played. Wouldn't be mad if he played this game. I wouldn't either. I understand, and I don't remember who it was in the national media yesterday. Somebody brought it up about the appeal. I think I was at the gym yesterday, and it was on, I'm assuming, ESPN or something. But they did bring it up. They did have a bunch of video of different guys doing the same stuff that Branch did. They didn't get suspended. They brought up, who was it? Jalen Carter, who spit at Dak Prescott. He got fined basically a one-game paycheck, but was allowed to play. I do think so for those who don't know, there's a 4-person panel that will do the review. They're all former players. I think he's got a chance. I also think the NFL doesn't want to suspend him and then reverse it, because then it kind of looks dicey. My personal opinion, I would have him play with, for free, basically, this game. He's going to get that kind of penalty, but ruling him out for the game for that, when you've got so much corroborating evidence of other players doing the same thing and not having been suspended, I talk about it all the time. I don't think it's a rule. If you don't apply it evenly to everybody, then it's a favoritism or an opinion. And that's what I don't like. So I do think he's got some level of opportunity to get it reversed and maybe just deal with the fine. Michael D, if we don't put pressure on him, he will pick us apart. I concur. Drake, I think Branch should be fine, not kicked out of the game. Seen too many videos. Yeah, there was all over him yesterday about the videos. Yesterday showing other players doing the same thing and not getting suspended. Correct with that. Lionel, good morning. Duke Crew Worldwide. Exclamation point. So Strickland is gone. Uquara and Smith are back. They signed injury-prone cornerback Kendall Fuller. Good move or bad? I like him. Again, I don't think they're signing him to play, a full 16, 18 games or whatever is left in the season. I think they're signing him to basically fill in 2 to 3 games. Plus, you got him for the bye week. If he can stay healthy, if he can be fresh and play at a high level during that time, I think it's a win for us. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. We've got to get after Baker, or he is too good and will hurt us. I also agree Branch has good grounds for appeal. Yeah, kind of, most of you guys know Stephanie does, is in law enforcement. And I put it this way. If somebody gets a ticket for doing something and somebody does the same thing and doesn't get a ticket, how do you feel if you get the ticket? And I don't know. I'll let you guys dive into that. Hey, Vapor. Hey, haven't seen you in a hot second. Good morning, Coach Dan, the Duke Crew. I hope and pray the players sue the bejesus out of the Goodell. I'd really like to know how much the Chiefs paid for that win. Boy, you could be opening up a can of worms by talking about that one. But I get your point. I can only tell you what I think, guys, and I know I've mentioned it so much in the last, 3 or 4 days. I think Goodell's got a big axe to grind with the Ford family. Because of it, he takes it out on the Lions and the Lions fans, conversely. Moonscar, good morning. Duke Crew starting lineup. Exclamation point. I see we finally got a little help for the back end of our defense. Hope he gets up to speed quickly and can return to old form. Yeah, I agree with that. The nice part is you signed him yesterday, Tuesday. You're going to have an extra day to kind of get him up to speed. He's played for a few different teams. He's seen different systems. I don't know if he's going to be a starter, but if you move him around, get him some snaps here and there, I think he could be a good option for us, for a couple-week basis. France, the Bucs are very beat up on the offensive side of the ball. Yes, they are. I feel the signing of Fuller, I like the signing of Fuller, but he has only a week to get ready. Branch just needs to accept the one game, use it to learn and heal up. Yeah, and I agree. could be a win having him sit out because now you got basically 3 weeks to the next game for him to rest on up and get fully healthy, or at least close to fully healthy. Just good morning, all. I think we need to add a defensive end, cornerback, and offensive line. I would say there'd be a lot of people that would agree with you on that. Jameer, we just need to get this game. Yes, we do. You get this game, you get to the bye, you're 5-2. You're probably looking pretty decent for the playoffs. Okay, good morning, Duke. Hex, yeah, appeal it. It was open-handed slap, not a punch. And Zebra stood there and just watched the blindside hit from Juju! Exclamation point. Freaking suspended freaking Juju. Yeah, I would suspect today we'll get some kind of information about, maybe a fine for Juju, maybe even Patrick Mahomes. I know there's been a lot of speculation about that. My problem also when reviewing that film, and I should have talked about it yesterday or the day before, but when Juju's assaulting Brian Branch, he's got a teammate, a fellow Kansas City Chief, holding Brian Branch. Brian Branch basically can only defend himself with one hand. I get why the guy's pulling away. I'm not saying he's wrong to have done it to try to, calm the situation, but Juju Smith is now assaulting somebody who cannot really defend himself. I think that should be looked at as well. Vapor, those refs need to be sued for a heck of a lot more than KC paid for the win. Might be true. Hassity Manley, good morning. Coach Dan the Duke with a thumbs up. Back at you, my friend. Good afternoon, and Carol. Susan, Hassity Manley, your son should come on the show sometime. I think that'd be a great interview for Coach and the Duke. That's not a bad idea. If they want to come on, have them all contact me, man. I'll put anybody on the show if they ask, basically. As long as I don't think they've got a political agenda or something like that. Good afternoon, Mr. Hassani. We are just counting the days until we get a med back. I think we are. It's one day closer. Carrie, good morning, everyone. Back at you. Five Fingers Freddy. Does Fuller have anything left to give the team? Question mark. I know he used to be good. That would be the big question. The only thing I would say, Five Fingers, is if they signed him, the coaching staff has to believe there's something left in that tank, right? Hey, Vape, good luck, Baker. I seriously doubt you have the money to buy the reps. We'll find out. Mary, good morning, Duke Crew. Happy Wednesday. Who's ready for some grit this morning? Hey, Queen Mary's in the house, bringing the grit. Hookadoo, I second that emotion. Susan Scott, hey, Vape, I am Mary. Dan Baker won't need to buy the reps. Just exploit the gaping holes in the defense. Let's hope we can cover those holes. Mask them. Maybe put some Flex Seal over them there, Dan. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Woo! And back at you. Jessica, hey, Coach, seen your Facebook post yesterday. Didn't realize you used to cover my husband in high school for his local paper. Didn't think you were that old. Well, no, I don't know who your husband is, but it is possible. I mean, I covered high school, college, and pro sports for different publications, I don't know, from the late 80s to about, on a regular basis, to about 2015 or so. Dell, good morning, Lions bounce. I hope we do bounce all over the Bucs. Hookadoo, good morning, Queen Mary, Carrie, and the grit is starting to build. Oh, yeah, the grit is building for sure. So, our pass rush has got to get to Mayfield. If not, he will discount, double check our butts. Did he? I think that was Aaron Rodgers that did commercials. Maybe Baker did too. Mary Hookadoo, good morning, my brother. Who are you ready to bring the grit this morning? I think we're always ready, aren't we, Mary? Dave, the world knows Baker isn't joking. Jared Goff will out-devil Baker Mayfield. Reader, Endzone, Hutch will break his foolish heart. Dave Montgomery will set another record. Lions eat the boy wonder. Let's see if we can do just that. Although metaphorically eat him. Let's not actually eat him. Mary, good morning, Carrie. Hey, Babe, good morning, Hookadoo. Dan, the Lions didn't play well enough to win. Yeah, I'll go with that. We didn't play our best game by any stretch of the imagination against the Chiefs. You're right with that, Dan. Steve, why are we always so beat up on defense? Any idea? Again, we're talking about the Buccaneers. I mean, you look at them. They've got a couple players out for the year. They've got every wide receiver basically who's starting for them out for this game, or at least potentially out. They're going through some injuries too, and I don't think it's exclusive to just Detroit. I say, Manley, I will talk to him about that, see what his opinion. I know my son, he likes to appear when he achieving something. Thank you, Susan, for the suggestion. Yeah, great suggestion. Reach out, let me know if he wants to come on. Hookadoo, Queen Mary, I'm still fired up with this stuff. Brian Branch, grit is strong in the den today. Exclamation point, I'm down with that. Dell, good morning. Lions bounce back Monday night. Baker Mayfield will have his worst game and come back to reality. I'm down with that. Dan, I would rather Baker play his best game, and if the Lions were to win, that shows who rules the NFC. Yeah, well, maybe Baker will play his worst game because the Lions defense, I don't know, just trying to Scooby-Doo that. Mario Hookadoo, me too. I hope we can. His case for rooting for win his case for rooting for Brian Branch. Down with that. Yeah, I'm rooting for Brian Branch too. I hope he wins that case. Okay, good morning, A-Vape. We got some grit brewing today. Oh, yeah. Dan Branch will not win the appeal. Who will see. He has the dirty tag on him from the NFL and the players. Well, yeah, we'll find out, Dan. I'm not sure. I wouldn't call him a dirty player. The hit in Green Bay a year ago, I would account that to the weather more than anything, but that's my opinion. Doesn't have to be your opinion. Pat, I think he should, Dan. I'm down with that. Mary, Dan, I would like to be positive about it. Me too. I'd like to be positive. That's just my nature. Positive Pete. Hookadoo, it doesn't hurt anything to appeal it, so go for it, Brian Branch. I like the way you're thinking. Tori, I heard Coach Dan say this yesterday, and it stuck with me. Quote, as a rule is only a rule if it applies evenly to anyone and everyone. That got me thinking about KC game and Branch. Yeah, you could say there were not evenly applied rules. Mary, yeah, they said the same thing about JMO and the same thing about Brian Branch, always a target. Yeah, it's funny how people lock onto ideas. Trey, I don't know who's playing in our secondary this game. Yeah, be a lot of unknown people for sure. Jennifer, morning all. Back at you. Cynthia, good morning all. And back at you both. Let's see, Mary. Tori, I agree with what that's going to happen. It's going to happen for sure. Hookadoo, Dan, you're a courtroom reporter. Give us play-by-play of Brian Branch appeal. Well, I've already talked about it a little bit, Hookadoo. But yeah, it'll probably happen in expedited fashion because they're going to want to have a resolution prior to whatever goes down in Monday night's game. My guess is we'll have the appeal done by Friday. So Brian Branch has an opportunity. The Lions have an opportunity, whatever situation may unfold itself, for them to be ready for the game. Brian Branch, I do think there's a lot of hard information, video confirmation that if you're going to suspend him, then why weren't these other people suspended? Mike Florio, that's what it was. I was listening to him and some other guy yesterday at the gym. And they brought up that very fact. For those who don't know, Mike Florio is a lawyer and used to be a practicing full-time attorney. He brought up how he would defend him and said he thinks that it would be very difficult for the NFL to justify the suspension when you didn't let 8 other guys who did something very similar or the same thing not get suspended. So, and that's where we're at with it. Carrie, morning, Mary and Hookadoo. Yes, give them a little bit of grit. Oh, yeah, I'm down with that. Lauren, good morning, everyone. Exclamation point, back at you. JC, greetings, salutations, coach and crew with an exclamation point. Dennis, good morning. Dan and Duke crew, good to see you guys all. Black Jared Jones, grit, baby. Who doesn't love to have some grit, Jones? Coach Rock, good morning. Duke crew, will be tough game coming up. Yeah, man, pretty much the rest of the season. I think they're all going to be tough games. I know once upon a time, maybe we said the Giants wouldn't be, but the Giants are playing pretty hard. Minnesota's, playing pretty well. I just don't see an easy win on the remaining portions of the schedule. David, what up, though? Question mark. Is this going to be a tough game? The D-line or front seven will have to dominate. I think you're right, David. I think you're going to put a lot more pressure defensively to perform for Detroit. I don't think you can play a bunch of zone defense. I don't care who's out there for the Bucs at wide receiver and tight end. I think if you do that so much, it's not our strengths, my opinion. It doesn't have to be your opinion. And I think Baker Mayfield's too good. He'll carve us up. Good morning, by the way, David. Mary, good morning. Carrie, Cynthia. Coach Campbell says, quote, in order to be the best, we have to play the best. Yeah, I agree with that. How do you know you're the best? You beat the best. Rain, very concerned about being a good yet not being able to overcome. I think we are up to the challenge. Skip Baker, by the way. We'll skip past him, hopefully. Hopefully, we'll skip him down on the ground, too. Mary, good morning, Rock. Same old soup, present. Hey, good to see you as always. Hey, babe. Woo, woo. I'll go with all the above. Lionel Mayfield has been talking smack all season. All lip service to me. Lightning and Thundercats. Ho! With an exclamation mark. Big D, morning cruisies. What a doozy. Ooh, I like what you did there. Jason, NFC Championship game preview Monday. I think it could be. I predict to see the Bucs in the postseason. I would like that very much, especially in the NFC title game. Big D, got my Brian Branch jersey on the way, baby. Hey, go support. King SJ, good morning, Coach and Duke crew. Back at you, my friend. All right, congrats on reaching 15,000 followers. Thanks, man. Thanks. Big shout out to the Duke crew for that. Coach Rock, good morning, Mary. Going to have to bring a little extra grit for a week. I will be away for a week. Hey, well, enjoy your time away, and hopefully you'll be able to still watch and cheer on the Lions there, Coach. Hey, babe, good deal, Big D. How about that? Gary, Green Sanitation's coach and crew. If Crosby is available in Las Vegas, could we still be interested? Better pass rusher would help the secondary immensely. It is possible, Gary. I just personally, I don't see Brad Holmes giving up that kind of draft capital or whatever to acquire him. Is it possible that Vegas wants to move on? It is, but whether or not we'd be the acquirer, I guess would be my question. Mega Hustle, always good to see you. Been a hot second. Goff overturned touchdown was still fishy, question mark, especially since he had a similar play with St. Brown against the Seahawks last year. This shows the NFL is cheating for the Chiefs. Man, I feel like I've covered this a lot. I do think, in my opinion, you guys already know it. I think the NFL did everything they could to favor that game. I think they do that from time to time. It's not just against Lions, but I do think Goodell has a big axe to grind with the Ford family, and that's why the Lions are on the short end of so many of these just incredibly rare rules that nobody apparently on the field, coach, player, or officials know. And that's the problem. If none of those people know the rule, is it really a rule? Because you've got 3 different layers of the NFL not knowing the rule. Your officials need to know the rules in order to enforce the rules. If they don't know it, how can it really be a rule? Mary, Rock, 100%. Pierce, Coach, love how we ran into each other in the MCDC presser right when Danforth update came. How about that, man? Like I said yesterday, that's some timing right there. Hey, babe, I remember when Dan was going for 2,500. My, how far he's come. Hey, the Dew crew has grown for sure, man. Everybody loves a delicious morning Mountain Dew. Again, this is nothing new for Baker. I respect it. All he has, not personal. He'd say it and mean it to whoever he's playing. If they're good, it's a compliment. Yeah. Again, I think a lot of players, especially when you got to a certain level, college or whatever, you probably say any level of sports, they self-motivate. They find a way to get that motor going mentally, physically. And I think he's been slighted by as many teams as, Jared Goff. And the fact that he keeps performing. I would even throw this out at you guys. In the recent years for the NFL, would you look at, I need to draft a quarterback and then develop them, or do I need to find somebody like a Mayfield? I guess you go through half the NFL right now. Think about so many quarterbacks in the league that are performing at a high level that are with a second or third team. Mayfield, Goff, I'm probably not readily thinking of some other people, but you guys get the gist. I think there could be a lot of evidence that nowadays in the NFL, let somebody else draft in the first round, get anxious, cut them, and then we'll pick them up and have our starting quarterback. Moonscar, Baker is going to meet his maker. Oh, I see what you did there. He could get cooled off when he gets placed in the hutch of the baker! Exclamation point. I'm done with that. Jonathan, we signed Fuller to the practice squad. We did, and good morning to you too, my friend. I do think he'll probably be elevated for the game if he's got anything in the tank. JC, Baker probably feels slighted by his regime because he thinks he personifies grit, what the Lions are. So them not signing him when he was available sticks in his crow. Probably could be with an exclamation point. Big D, a lot of naysayers out here now, guys. It's truly now more than ever. It's us against the world. I agree with that fully. I got your back. You got mine. OFs to give. Yes, I know what you got there. All right, thank you for that, Big D. Eddie's Fish, NFL commissioner. And better not show up in Detroit for the Monday night game because of Lions fans. Might run him out the town. It might be indeed. Big D, he's appealing the suspension. Yeah, Brian Branch is appealing the suspension. Mary, Moonscar laughing at him. Hookadoo, good one, Moonscar. Cynthia, I stand corrected. We need to beat the best. Yes, we do. We need to beat the best to be the best. That sounds like some Ric Flair wisdom right there. Hookadoo, no, Johnny. Hey, yo, Johnny, where are you? We'll find out. Rock, wonder who decides the appeal. There's a 4-person panel, and they're all former players who are now in those roles unofficially, but yet officially for the NFL as non-biased partisans. Tux Beam, rewatched a couple of the KC games. Hollywood Brown punched DB Lewis from Jags open-handed, only 15-yard penalty, multiple false starts. NFL has to do something. I would agree. Mayor Smith, good morning. Queen Cynthia. Hookadoo, I will rock. Coach Rock, why waive Strickland when we have zero help in the backfield? That's a big question. I can't answer it. They got to have a plan, right? Mary Hookadoo, you're a great one. Go Lions. I concur. Coach Rock, I second that. Hookadoo. Big D, was Fuller with Houston? He's been with a lot of teams. I know he's been with the Bears, Washington. I want to say there's another team too, but I don't have it in front of me, so don't hold me to that. Jason, love the positive spin on Brian Branch. Get rest, Brian Branch. Thornton's class is always full of Mountain Dew. Yes, correct. I mean, he's playing hurt, so, the positive side, if he misses this game, is he should be a whole lot more healthy after the bye. He knows how to deflect passes. There you go. Great day. The comment MCDC said yesterday is encouraging and discouraging at the same time. Come November, early December, the team will be healthy. That's way too long with starters out. Yeah, and the other thing I would say about that is, that's a positive Pete way to look at it. The reality is other injuries can occur during that time as well, while you will have some other people back, though. Mary, yes, Big M, Rock, put them Lions Talk Live alarm for Johnny this morning. Yeah, I wonder where Johnny is. Big D, thank you. That dude was a beast. Nice. I'm down with that. JD, have you? Back at, hopefully you're having a good morning. Andrew, I'm okay with losing to the Bucs. Let's hope we don't, though, right? Rock, will be tough to beat the Bucs with a patched up backfield. 100% there, 100%. Rise to the occasion, though, right? Mary, sounding the alarm for Johnny L. Wake your butt up. It's time to shine for Lions Talk Live. I'm down with that. JD, what up, though? Coach Fuller would be good for us better when the other player comes back. Yeah, 100% indeed. Good to see you, JD. Michael, well, we're not Andrew. Okay. Rock, if 3 guys couldn't tackle Mahomes, just know how many it will take to bring down a bigger Mayfield. Just saying. Yeah, Mayfield, he plays with some panache, man. I mean, I like the guy, but I'm going to like him a lot less on Monday night. Lionel, Bucky being out is a bonus for us. I would agree with that. Rock, that's so funny, Mary. Laughing out loud. Big D, the rookie they have at wide receiver, he's a freak fast, played at Oregon Ducks. Yes, indeed. Hookadoo, Johnny L, come out and play a game of grit. There you go. Big D, the healthy one. Correct? Cynthia, good morning, Queen Mary. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll agree to everybody in the Duke crew. Rock, the refs will be in the spotlight in the D, so that will be worth watching. I'll concur. Mary, Cynthia, so far good. Lionel, Tease Johnson from Oregon, could be. Lauren, sounds like Mayfield gave us bulletin board material. Could be right. I'll use any advantage we can. Hookadoo, Rock, I'm surprised they don't have most wanted posters in Detroit for the Zebra crew. Exclamation point. They probably should. Woodscar, Lauren, agreed 100%. Rock, maybe they will now. Hookadoo. Chuck, wow, losing a lot of respect for him. Delusion on his mind. I guess I don't know who you're talking about there. Chuck, let me know, I guess. Big D, yes, Tease. Jason, Mayfield is fun to watch. He is, man. I mean, he's a fun player. Hassani, good morning to all my friends on Lions Talk Live. What great broadcast with a great team. Hey, always great to have the Duke crew around, and thank you for tuning in all the way from Cairo. Mary Smith, Hookadoo, they might have it in the meeting room. Could be. Thomas, look, Bucs have 3 injured wide receivers. We have a decimated backfield. Our D-line best show up big. Exclamation point. Play him the same as we did Lamar. Show him with the linebackers and passing downs. The hard part's going to be, Thomas, is against Lamar, we're able to play man-to-man. We may play man-to-man this game, but if we do anything like we did against KC, I think it's just going to be harder to run the same schematics that you did for Lamar because you do not have the same back half personnel. Moonscar, Hookadoo, one of my best friends sent the head ref, Craig Worsley, a lovely email in regards to that officiating. How about that? Rocket M, taking my Lions gear down to Port Canaveral for the bye week, so I will probably have to hear it laughing out loud. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Go represent. Hookadoo, I did like him when he played in Cleveland. Yeah, I was surprised the Cleveland Browns moved on from him. But, hindsight's 2020. The problem is you are paid when you are Cleveland to make the right decision. I would say this decision set them back big time. You think about with that defense, if Mayfield would have been there and those extra first-round picks and all the other stuff they would have had, that could have been a dang dominant team. Ryan, it's going to be a long time. Penalty flags will be flying. Always true. Big D, Thomas Donner, I agree 100%. Rock, good morning, Hassani. Big D, Mr. Hassani, welcome, friend. Exclamation point. Benjamin Brewer, why don't you have that conversation about Strickland with Shepard? Question mark. Just asking. I'll see if I can get him on my speed dial. Lionel, good morning, Madley. How's the weather there? Question mark. Getting colder every day up here. What's up of Michigan? Southwest of UP. Let's see, Jess. We finally got a younger, fuller brother. There we go. Thomas, I believe we will win versus the Bucs. It will be close within 7 points, but we better play totally different. Exclamation point. Fired up. We will be fired up, no doubt about it. Okay, that's great, Moonscar. And he should be focused to read it out loud in an apology for the Lions. I'm down with that. Forced to read it out loud. Coach Rock, Moonscar, I'm sure there will be critics in a return email. That probably is very accurate. Hassani Madley, good morning, Mr. Rock, Big D, and Hookadoo. Wish you guys all good day, and back at you. Thomas, 12-5, that's what I see, unless the injuries get us out of hand even worse. We'll find out. Hookadoo, Coach Rock, wear that gear loud and proud. I think he will. I say, Manley, good morning, Coach Rock. I'll tell the Hun, if the Lions win the games they are favored to win, and remainder of the season they would finish 13-4, I would take that. I would too, my friend. Big time. Coach Rock, Hookadoo, and I will roar. Hey, make sure you do it outside and loud. Courtney, I saw that Jess Fuller, the younger Fuller. There you go. Hookadoo, same to you, Mr. Hassan. Have a good day filled with grit. You always got to have your grit, right? Thomas, Juju gets nothing. We don't know yet. Probably later today we'll find out. Absolute disgrace. Branch gets fined and loses a game, and Juju gets away with a legal bomb right in front of the ref. We wonder why Branch did what he did. I don't blame Brian Branch. No, and Branch did talk about it, or somebody talked about it, that the taunting on the field, along with, in my opinion, the block in the back, and then disrespectfully walking over Brian Branch. You see his head turn a little bit. I'm talking about Juju. Says something. He's trying to goat and bait him. So I get it. All shadows fled. Detroit would have won a Super Bowl with Mayfield. I love Goff. Just don't think he can get us to the promised land. I believe Baker would have. My opinion doesn't have to be yours. Laughing out loud. I always go Lions. Yeah, down with that. Nothing wrong with having your own opinion, my friend. Courtney, where does John Gruden lawsuit against the NFL have discovery? I don't know. Haven't paid much attention to it, unfortunately, Courtney. Ryan, what goes against Branch? He is not a first-time offender. Could be, but I would say he hasn't been suspended before. I know he's been flagged for, hits and stuff. I'm just not sure if that plus this equals to suspension, but obviously the NFL thinks otherwise. So you could be right, Ryan. Harrisville, he probably knew he was going to be out anyway, so he smacked him on the way out. It could be. Brian Branch, whoop, Juju, 50-on-1 with one arm free. That would be the funny part of it is, Juju Smith, you probably don't want to talk too much trash because you got one-arm bandit beating your butt. Let's see, Thomas. All shadows could be, but look at Goff's numbers from 2021, then say it again. Fair enough. Fuller will be fresh. Yeah, he'll be fully fresh. There you go. Fuller will be fully fresh. Chuck, after the dirty hit, the guy stepped over Branch with the intent and spoke down to him. Yeah, exactly what I saw. So not only a penalty, but taunting too, and the refs turned a blind eye. That's one thing I would bring up to the NFL and would love to have a mic in front of them if you could and say, hey, taunting is a point of emphasis. Could you walk me through these videos and explain how these aren't taunts and see what their response would be? Thomas, look, we all love Ahmed. Exclamation point. He's still a rookie and he has missed over half the season. Be reasonable. Yeah, I'm not expecting to come in and, get into the Hall of Fame right away. He's going to need some time to be seasoned. Burns, Lions fan base needs to start a GoFundMe to pay the refs to make the games fair. Might be accurate. Thomas, we need Baker to be like this, so that will be a game. We owe Tampa a loss from last year. Go Lions. I'm down with that. Payback time for last year. Good morning, by the way, Dennis. Thomas, my question is, versus KC, Knuckles gets only 4 carries. What is that? Yeah, I can't answer. Hookadoo, hey, Thomas, don't you really think we could use the help? Get so real. Down with that. No hooked, I don't. Thomas, Hookadoo, dude. You don't understand what I'm saying. You can't depend on a rookie who missed over half the season to come on and be effective. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Eddie's Fish, hi, Lions fans. I am looking for some Lions fans in the 757 Hampton, Virginia area. Okay? Famous RW. Greetings, salutations, Coach and crew. Is it what it is? We will bounce back and put a stamp on the season. Yeah, you win this game, you go into the bye, you get healthy. A lot of things setting up. Just Amik was a week 1 starter. Was he a week 1 in maybe the slot? Thanks for that, Just. Sorry if I got that wrong. Thomas, why don't you apply for a coaching job with the Lions? You seem to think you know everything. All right. Johnny Gas Sports, good morning. Dan and the new crew, exclamation point, and back at you. Reno, good morning, Coach. Dan and crew. Coach, give Brad Holmes a Mountain Dew so he can open his eyes and get quality depth. Yeah, maybe he's trying. I don't know. You do have to have 2 people to tangle, in a trade. Let's see, Michael, we need offensive line to open up some holes for running backs. We need to get Gibbs some long runs. Haven't seen that this season. You could say, and I know we talked about it as a group a little bit after the KC game, I thought the interior offensive line for the Lions struggled a little bit that game. And I get we got some younger guys growing, developing. You got to take the ups with the downs. But I think, the further the season goes on, that should hopefully, as they improve, get better. Kurt Steele, what up, Dill Crew? What's up, man of Steel? Famous RW. If I can recall, Aiden has like 8 sacks against Tampa Bay. He seems to have great games against them. Hopefully, he can have another great game. Good call on that, Famous RW. Mary Smith, good morning. Johnny Gatz, Hookadoo. Professor Steele, good morning, sir. Kurt Steele, good morning, everyone. Mary Smith, good morning, Professor. Kurt Steele, Coach and LL on the Boss Up Ball Show at 8 following Lions Talk Live. We'll tune in. Thomas Juju, when slapped, acted like a soccer player at first, then brought himself, I better do something. Then Branch popped him for running back after him while being held. Still, Brian Branch bloodied his nose. He did indeed. Michael, if I was the forwards, I'd strongly consider pulling sponsorship money from the NFL. We'll see if they do. Oscar, don't forget about that block to Hutchinson's knee on the same play that Juju blindsided Branch. How about that? Thomas, last I'll say of it, after the slap, it was over. Juju came back after Brian Branch. That started the fight. That is also correct. That is correct. Hookadoo, yeah, Munskar knocked him down for no reason, walked over him, and just walked away. Correct with that. Christian Fuller gets a full week of practice since the Lions don't play till Monday night. Correct with that. That is an advantage for us. Pierce Fuller will be good, I think. Yeah, probably for a while. Hopefully he goes back, like I said, 2021, 2022 for him. Thomas, ultimately, the refs absolutely had something to do huge with it for the game. We'll come out on fire Monday night. Lions win! ! I'm down with all the above. Christio, Ryan was the dirtiest player, now handing out suspensions. Yeah, how about that, right? Pierce, Strickland was hurt, didn't want to use him in IR slot. Yeah, that might be it. Good call on that, Pierce. Very good call on that. Lionel, Flores with the Chiefs also. Thank you for that. Eddie's Fish, I think the Brian Branch suspension is horse hockey. Hey, who doesn't? Man, that's a Colonel Potter term from MASH, if you guys remember him. Verno, Coach, I know it's a business, but why do we get hit the hard when it comes to the NFL commissioner? He doesn't like the Ford family. That's my personal opinion. Phil, good morning. Good morning, Phil. How you doing today? Thomas, Hookie, do that. Do. How about that? Exclamation point. Relax. It's just my opinion. Nothing wrong with that. Good to have an opinion, right? Kurt Steele, Mahomes is bigger than Mayfield. Yes, he is. Hookadoo, water under the bridge, Thomas. Love Baker. Always have going back to Oklahoma, but we win Monday. Exclamation point. I'm down with that. Kurt Steele, good thing the Lions play at 7. I'll take that. Thomas, look, we played zone versus Kansas City. It didn't work. Yeah, some of that, and to be fair, from a coaching perspective, some of that is you got a bunch of guys who barely know each other, asked to do something they normally don't do. It's not going to look great, especially when you're going up against one of the NFL's top quarterbacks. Excuse me. So it could look better this week. I just don't think it's ideal to play a strong quarterback 80% of the time in zone, unless you really have guys that are built for that, and I don't think the Lions do. Let's see, Jess. Sucks the appeal panel is Derek Brooks, Bucs, Jordan Nelson, Packers, and Raymond Foster, Lions, Steelers. There you go. Dennis, sorry, Dan. Good morning, Duke Crew. And back at you, my friend. Mary, have a great and blessed day, y'all. See you in the morning. Love my Lions Talk Live family. Peace and love always goes a long way. You're not wrong with any of the above. Have a great day, Mary. Ziggy and friends, good morning. Captain Dan and the Duke Crew All-Stars, back at you. Phil, when a team knows there will be no penalties, they get out of hand. Maybe the league was sending a message to the teams, we can win or lose you a game. Yes, it could be. They've been sending that message, Phil, Lions, for, 17 years now, I'd say. But you could be spot on with that, Philly. Atlanta, I do trust the NFL. Everything is running by New York and Vegas. These guys play their hearts out and still lose. Depends on refs' opinions. That is sports in a nutshell. Moonscar Blade, have a great day. Exclamation point. Matt, Mary, Hookadoo. Talk tomorrow. Queen Mary. Jess, we are wearing black uniforms this week as well. How about that? Ryan, Todd Bowles will take it to a higher level than KC. Could be true. Hookadoo, happy trails. Duke Crew, One Pride Worldwide. And back at you, Michael D. Thanks, Coach, for another great show. Exclamation point. One Pride. Hey, thanks for being a part of the Duke Crew. Brian, Dan, you say we're not that good in zone yet. Did our coaches do last game? Ran zone. I won't call it stupidity, but it's stupidity. The problem is, Brian, they may think we're better at zone than man. And that I don't know. I'm not at the practices. But they may actually think, even though we're not good at zone, we may be worse with that group of players out there in man-to-man. So it becomes a double-edged sword, right? Derek, if Rodgers is holding a grudge against the Lions' old regime, that would make him a very petty man. They're all gone. Give up the grudge. Yeah, I don't think you will, man. You guys probably know people well enough to know there's some people that 20 years later, 30 years later, they still remember that one time and that one thing. That's probably who Roger Goodell is. Just maybe Grant Stewart can play some safety. He's pretty dang fast. Might have to, man. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get over to you as soon as possible. If you would be so kind before departing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Do something kind for someone you don't know. Be a good human being. Don't hold a grudge against the Ford family, and we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.